There's a really interesting way of looking at the Buddha's teachings, which are in terms of looking at the teachings of the cause and the teachings of the result. And the way that was related to me, the teachings of the cause is all the teachings that are about cultivation. All the teachings that are about, hey, maybe don't be such a jerk all the time. That's to me. Be kind, be patient, cultivate, the paramis, patience, generosity, etc. Obviously, I need to relearn them. Cultivate the wholesome heart states, kindness, compassion, joy, the joy of others, equanimity. The entire ethical teachings of the Buddha, this vast, beautiful, elegant way of living that is so gentle. So this is the whole idea of the path, right? The Eightfold Path, the journey to enlightenment, the our daily walk that we have to take step by step. And the Buddha also gave teachings that you could look at as the teachings of the result. This is the wake up, you're already there. The Buddha says again and again, mind is always luminous, vast, and infinite. Mind is always like this. You are the Buddha. You are the one who knows. That Buddha mind is your essential nature. It would be impossible to lose. This isn't something we're injecting that wasn't there before. The Buddha teaches that teaching which is about waking up to what's already there, waking up to what's already present. And the interesting thing about both these approaches, one being the path of cultivation, the gradual path, and the other being the path of total awakening, the path of waking up to the truth of yourself. And of course, every single person in here has had those experiences, right? You have those mountaintop kind of experiences, those moments of utter pristine clarity, those moments of the heart absolutely cracking open, the moment bursting open with light. And then, you do the laundry, or you pay that bill, or you talk to that person that you can't stand. Totally get it. But the interesting thing about this is that they both end at the same place, and they both have their uses. And again, remember, the Buddha taught for 49 years, taught kings, mercenaries, soldiers, merchants, scholars. There wasn't anybody he came across he would teach. So different audiences, different strokes for different folks. But the genius, the thing that I want to get to, that I've already taken too long, is the whole body of ethical cultivation that the Buddha teaches is the absolute perfect medicine for the gradual unraveling of narcissistic selfing that keeps us apart from that Buddha nature that we are, that absolute luminous, vast mind that we are. So it's so amazing that the Buddha would teach kindness, compassion, joy, the joy of others, generosity, etc. Why? Because these beautiful, wholesome heart states naturally start to unravel my kind of habitual narcissistic worldview, where there's me and everybody else, all the others, right? That's cute. There are no others. There's just us. So whether you are practicing these kind of very high, non-dualist, mountaintop kind of approaches of the wake-up approach, or the gradual, hey, maybe I can let go a little bit here. Maybe I can be kinder here. Maybe I can be more generous here in this very gradual cultivation. They both arrive at this incredible flowering, this opening of the human, and you get to come home again to yourself, how you always have been, really. So I just wanted to mention that, because it would be easy for some people to kind of get to misunderstand and think that things like Dzogchen, Mahamudra, Yoga Tantra, these kind of non-dualist approaches are somehow different from the gradual kindness, compassion, generosity, etc. They're absolutely of one flavor. To put a cap in this, the Buddha said again and again, my teachings have one taste, only one, the taste of freedom. So anything that you do, notice, does this feel like freedom? Does this feel like opening? Does this feel like unbinding? And if it doesn't, maybe pay attention. Maybe there's something there to look at. Yes, sir. Yeah. The question is, how do we deal with the suffering of another? For instance, the suffering of the people in Maui, or suffering of a friend, someone who's going through something, and it feels like maybe it's not enough. There's a lot of things to say about this, but one thing that came up very strongly to me is, and it may not, let's see how this goes. It's not enough. Every single person is responsible for their own life. And you will, if you are lucky, break your heart against the suffering of the world. And that's a wonderful thing. In the Zen tradition, they have this idea of, they have these 4 vows that they take. And the first is, embodied beings are numberless. I vow to save them all. It's obviously ludicrous. You can't. How are you going to do that? But that vow has a power that activates your being. That is a vow to live by. That is a beautiful aspiration to navigate towards. So, understanding that you actually cannot in any final way eliminate the karmic suffering of another, especially, people say, oh yeah, everything happens for a reason, right? Well, sometimes the reason is I'm dumb and I make bad choices. And it's true. Even the great, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they can't eliminate our suffering. Imagine we're like children having a nightmare next to our parent in bed. It's our nightmare, and we have to wake up. And you can try to help, you can nudge, you can, So I guess my partial answer, or my answer is, do what you can when you can. And doing what you can when you can will not unbreak your heart. And that's okay. There's a lot of suffering in this world. And you doing your best and attaining full enlightenment actually won't eliminate the suffering in the world. But that vow, that bodhisattva vow, embodied beings are numberless, I vow to save them all, that will eliminate your suffering, finally. So, I think that's like really hard. I think that's one reason why the Buddha puts equanimity at the end of the immeasurables. Loving kindness, compassion, joy at the joy of others, and equanimity is steering the ship. And the slogan that the Buddha gives for equanimity is, all beings are responsible for their karma. Like, people are going to make choices. I love you. I wish you well. Good luck. I don't know if that's helpful. Thank you, sir. Rob, sir, if I may paraphrase Rob, he was saying that when suffering arises within your knowledge that there's always some terrible thing happening, it's actually an opportunity to examine your own process around it and to enter into the experience of another even just in terms of what it makes happen in you. It's like a divine messenger. Yeah, there's no shortage. Oh, cancer. No shortage of suffering here.
Yeah, there's, that formal practice of that Tonglen, where you give and receive. That's I like practicing that. It's a pretty cool way to try to get into the suffering of others. This is probably a good opportunity for that, the Tonglen practice. These Maui fires, it's just a reminder.
Ken, would you give us an example of a Tonglen exercise in regard to this? Just a simple.
Well, yeah. So you would, think of the fires. You would think about the poor people suffering, running into the ocean, and you try to feel as much as you can what they're feeling, and you allow that feeling to open up your heart, and you breathe in their suffering, exactly as they feel it. And what you breathe out is your compassion, your, heartfelt, just your compassion, your opening heart, your
good wishes.
Good wishes. The end of your suffering, and just cycle through that. So.
Awesome, thank you. Thong, very famous Vajrayana Tibetan practice. There's no shortage of suffering here. So allow it to break your own heart open, and then do your damnedest, whatever that means. And it can mean a different thing on a different day. So thank you, everybody.